Good morning this Friday, June 28th. What a beautiful day. We're here today in Fairmount Cemetery for Christian Reporter News for our table talk. And if some of you will recall, last time that I was with you, we talked about water and the drought and its lack of water here in San Angelo. And today I kind of wanted to talk about the effects of that drought. And one of the things that came close to my mind was Fairmount Cemetery is owned by the city and how the drought has affected the upkeep of the cemetery. And with me today, we've got folks from the board. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
I'm Bitsy Stone. I serve on the Friends of Fairmount board. I'm a past president, and I also serve on the Fairmount board.
And I'm Ann West. I'm currently the Vice President of Friends of Fairmount, and I also serve on the Fairmount Cemetery Board.
I'm H.R. Wardlaw. I'm a native of San Angelo, and I'm serving currently on the City Council of the City of San Angelo.
Recently, I just read the article of a magazine on 150th anniversary celebrating history, and this was in Virginia, Pennsylvania, and the Carolinas where the Civil War. And a lot of times we think of history as being something of that nature in some other location, but the history that we have right here in San Angelo is just as old, longer than 150 years. You know, our fort is here, but the families, the settlers who came out here and settled this land. And when you look around the cemetery and you walk through, you see those dates and see that the history is right here. And my concern is the struggles that the organizations, the Friends for the Fairmount, their board have in paying their water bill, or the restrictions that they have on themselves, the city has in maintaining the property. I really would like for us to talk about the loss of some of the trees because of the drought. Who would like to jump in there and talk about that? Winky?
Well, I'm
Ann?
sorry.
That's all right, Ann.
Currently, we have a count of, we've removed 100 trees from the cemetery today. Actually, a little over 100. We have lost many trees. We are desperately trying to save what we have. In our watering, staying within the guidelines of the city is very important to us with the drought levels and adhering to those rules and regulations.
But it is going to cause some losses, especially trees that are not native to this area, which has prompted the Fairmount Cemetery Board to look into trees that are native and would be more hardy, drought resistant. It's a hard shoe to fit whenever you have a drought situation, or most of the time you drive down this street and you don't think about it until you see dead grass, dead trees, and you naturally want to point a finger somewhere, so we're calling attention to it now. Winky?
Well, I'd just like to say that the new City Council is sensitive to the problems and needs of the Fairmount Cemetery, and we intend to do everything within our power to protect the cemetery and to afford it the assets and water, if available, to preserve the trees and the landscaping here. And we are going to pay close attention and spend a lot of time on making sure that we do everything that we can, because we do not want this cemetery to be degraded by lack of funding or lack of water to the extent we can provide it. And I'm real excited about working on that project, and we're at the same time work with the same problems at the Santa Fe Park.
Bitsy, can you tell us a little bit about the history of the cemetery, possibly where it was before and that it relocated? And
Yes.
Could you tell us about that?
Yes, this particular cemetery, this location, was bought in 1893. So we are 100 years old here. The old city cemetery, which was called the Gridiron, was located at the corner of Oaks and Magdalen, where the Edison campus is now. So the city owned that, and they disinterred and reinterred people that were buried there. They are now here. We also have people that were buried at Ben Ficklin and Fort Concho who have been moved here.
That explains why at the gates, whenever you see the sign that says established and it's a certain date, and then you just start looking at some of the dates on the headstones, and they were before that established date. So
Yes.
I understand that possibly there's some, are there Buffalo Soldiers
There
here?
are. We have at least 4 Buffalo Soldiers. We have Jack Mathis, who was the first Congressional Medal of Honor winner from World War II, that's buried here. Our airport is named for him. We also have Jack Ingram, who was a veteran of the San Jacinto War. We actually have veterans of every war in this cemetery. And we even have a monument for a woman who was killed in 9/11.
Very good. You know, we have such a potential here. The number of veterans and the number of headstones and stuff. And I know in years past they tried to get a national cemetery here in San Angelo, but I would like to see some efforts to have a large area dedicated to our service members. If something in the future could be done in the way of that. Ann, can you tell us what some of the problems are? Do you have plenty of volunteers that help do things, or what the board, needs in way of assistance other than the city assisting them with water?
Absolutely, that's a given. We do. We have a tremendous, Friends of Fairmount has a tremendous membership base. We have over 400 members now, many of whom are active. We are currently starting a membership drive next month to hopefully increase that. Our main focus with Friends of Fairmount is the preservation and restoration of different areas of the cemetery. We have educational needs that we meet. We want to increase the visibility of Fairmount in the community. So many people don't really know where we are. They do now. We've had a Christmas wreath campaign fundraiser. We are looking to other fundraising activities that will help benefit the cemetery in tree plantings. Back in 2011, we had a master plan formed. We hired a firm out of Fort Worth, Komatsu and Associates, who specialize in Texas historic cemeteries. And Fairmount is designated a Texas historic cemetery, which is something we're very proud of. In speaking to the trees, we had a landscape firm from Austin came and surveyed all the trees in Fairmount. In that tree survey, which is a valuable resource to us in Fairmount and also to the city throughout, it tells which trees are very good for this area and which trees are not. So when we have replantings, we know it can go to that source and figure out which trees would be best and most suitable for San Angelo.
I would like to add, when she said we, she's referring to their board. They did a fantastic study and presented it to City Council, and their needs to increase the value of the property, so to speak, but they need a columbarium. That is correct?
Yes, ma'am, that is. We have 500 spaces left in Fairmount now to offer and sell to the public. There are national trends, and the national trends are leaning towards cremain burials. A columbarium is an area where you purchase a niche, and within that niche, the urns of the cremains are placed there and memorialized in a columbarium. In our master plan, the plan shows for 6 areas to have 6 columbarium, a total of 1,296 niches. In our phase 1, we just hope to build the first of 2. And I noticed through in talking to our staff, they are getting more and more inquiries as to do we have a columbarium? Will you have one? There's so much interest in the public. They know that it's coming. They just want to know when.
And a columbarium is essential for space. I mean, you have the same respect and memorial of your loved one, but it does cut down on the amount of space needed. And it is something that we seriously should consider, especially for those who call San Angelo home. Now, I've been here now more than half my life, and it's home. It truly is. I'd like to interject here right quick that Table Talk is about San Angelo, the community. And if there's some ideas or things that you wish or would like to talk about or to see us discuss, and that you'd like to know a little bit more, be sure to contact Christian Broadcasting. Kat Rowland will schedule with you, and we'll see what we can do to talk about the subject. Today it is the cemetery. It's beautiful. It's peaceful out here. Bring a good book and sit under a tree and read, or read the headstones. You'll find such rich history. I shudder to think, you know, Winky, you're a rancher. What would you say if we had absolutely no more rain this year, how it affects the trees out here? And possibly could we look at some water hauling if we had to?
Well, if we don't have any more rain this summer, if it's a hot summer, then there's a high likelihood that you will lose more trees. John Begnaud has told us what trees need, and of course it varies between the varieties of trees. He basically says trees like pecan trees need water every 2 weeks, and then the other types of trees fall in a category about once every 3 weeks. They need water to survive, and then once they get into the fall, when we start having some showers and it cools off, then the need for water is much less at that point in time.
The cemetery does have sprinkler systems, is that correct? Or is there a lot of hand watering that goes on out here? I'm not real sure, and I'm looking at someone from the city to tell me if that is correct. I believe that there is a sprinkler system. Is it through the whole
Yes.
park?
Yes.
It is, okay.
Yes, it is. It's an antiquated system, but we
Antiquated.
do have one. And we use the irrigation system, and we also hand water.
Water
At this point.
irrigation. So, but they are, I can assure you, they stay within their allotted amount that the city gives them, because they do have to pay that bill. And it gets pretty tough sometimes, as it does for all of us out there at the rates that the city has, which is, it is what it is. Right now, I'd like to take us to a quick break, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and it's Christian Reporter News. It's early in the morning for me. For those who know me, I really don't do mornings. But I want to let our board members talk here and tell us what they do and the differences in your organizations. If you would, Bitsy, can you start us off?
Sure. The Fairmount Board has been in existence since we have had Fairmount, since we have had the city cemetery. The city fathers established a board, and they oversaw the running of the cemetery. When they were first formed, though, they decided that they wanted their wives to do it. So they immediately called their wives and formed a board of women. And that continues today, and it's in our bylaws. So that is what Fairmount does. In 1927, Fairmount was deeded to the city. However, Fairmount had established a trust fund from the perpetual care donation, and so that had accumulated, and so it was agreed with the city that the city would get the income from the trust, and then supplement whatever else was needed. So Fairmount is owned by the city. Since it is owned by the city, when we started talking about some of these projects we wanted to do, we realized that we needed a 501c3 to be able to raise money to do these projects. So that is when Friends of Fairmount was formed, and that was in 2006 that we received our
nonprofit
designation. So,
Ann, could you tell us about
Absolutely,
that group?
thank you. And through Friends of Fairmount, we are basically the fundraising arm of the organization, fundraising and education. And we have different programs. We have a Stones and Bones program through the school system that we started in conjunction with San Angelo Museum of Fine Arts and Fort Concho. This year we've been doing that for 2 years now, and has generated a tremendous interest where the kids come out. It's a great opportunity to teach cemetery etiquette to them. And then from that we go into the preservation and maintenance and conservation and landscaping, and hopefully we'll be able to raise money to help Fairmount stay beautiful, water trees, replant trees, and continue its history, because we feel very passionate about the legacy of Fairmount Cemetery, the founding fathers, the cultural leaders that are here. Anywhere you drive in San Angelo, Bryant Boulevard, the Shannons, the hospitals, we have notables buried all throughout Fairmount Cemetery, and we do feel a great responsibility.
How many acres does the cemetery consist of?
It's 56 acres.
56 acres.
acres.
And I don't know the number of trees, but there are a lot of trees, and I am sure that staff will be, willing to look at and see what they can do with trucks, when we have to water trees that we look like we're going to lose, whatnot. But we need to remember that city doesn't have a lot of water trucks. I think we have one, maybe two. I'm not sure, but even if it's not a non-processed water, that maybe we can assist in some way to keep the trees alive. And hopefully today will make the citizens aware that whatever conservation that they do personally and give up, things like the cemetery and saving the trees with water is a good thing.
And we do encourage people of San Angelo to come out and visit our cemetery. There's a lot to learn here. There's a lot to see. And if anybody's interested in becoming a member of Friends of Fairmount, we welcome you, and we need you desperately. So
We do have a website.
that's right.
www.friendsoffairmount.org.
Very good. Anything else? Mickey, would you like to add?
Not much, but I would like to encourage people to consider joining the Friends of Fairmount organization to provide support and financial funds for maintaining the cemetery. I think it's a very worthy project, and I can say of my own personal knowledge, being a former attorney for the cemetery, that these ladies do a spectacular job in managing this asset of the cities, and I can't imagine anybody doing a better job than they do, and the amount of time they put into this project is incredible, and so they should be appreciated greatly by all of the members of this community.
The study that I mentioned that they had and presented to the council, they paid for out of their funds. Nothing was paid for from the city. Out of their love and their interest. Is a very, very well presented item for the columbarium and the things that they knew, a new safety gate and entry. And if you, the public, are interested or have a deep care, please contact these ladies, and maybe you have an idea that could help the city is to maintain. It's just a matter of money and needs. Thank you.